beautiful film. So much of it is a love letter to the power of theater and how theater can be a healing moment. So first of all, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So for people who maybe are unfamiliar with the story of Hamnet, and it's so funny, I can always tell when someone does because they'll often go, wait, do you mean Hamlet?
Yeah,
I go,
right.
No,
Yeah, no,
I don't.
no.
Can you sort of just give a general overview of really this really incredible story?
Sure. Well, just to clarify the thing about the name, Hamnet and Hamlet in Shakespeare's time, were interchangeable because spelling wasn't particularly homogenous. So they're the same word, ostensibly. But the story is basically focusing on Anne Hathaway, who in the novel is called Agnes, because she was also Anne or Agnes. And so Maggie O'Farrell called her Agnes. And she married William Shakespeare. They had 3 children. And one of their children was called Hamnet. And a tragedy befalls Hamnet. He did actually die, and Maggie has proposed that it was from the plague. And 4 years later, Shakespeare writes Hamlet. That's the sort of nutshell of it.
And so, first, one thing I do want to interject before anyone gets confused about anything. Anne Hathaway is not in this. Anne Hathaway is the name of the character, coincidentally enough. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, she would have been great, but I'm sure that the actors we have at Chicago Shakespeare are just as good. I'm sort of curious, Lolita, when you look at, because sort of the insinuation that's made in this story is that the events that occurred to Anne and to William Shakespeare, the death of Hamnet, very much led him to put pen to paper and write Hamlet, one of his most famous works. Is there truth in that? Do historians actually believe that Hamlet came from the death of Hamnet?
I think the delicious thing about it is that we don't know. And historically, Anne Hathaway, William's wife, has sort of been relegated in history and not really given her space. She's been the wife that he ignored, and he was this genius that plunged forward and wrote all these plays. And Maggie's proposition is that the son dies and affects William hugely. And that his relationship with his wife is changed by this tragedy. And there's logic in it, I think. I mean, it's changed my view of it, that 4 years later, he writes Hamlet. It can't be by chance. It can't. But it is an imagined thing. It's not proven, in fact.
I'd imagine that you probably read Hamlet before this story kind of, became a thing within pop culture. And I'd imagine then, as you're writing this play, that you probably revisited Hamlet. Are there things in Hamlet that maybe read differently to you if you are trying to convince yourself that this was a thing that happened?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm an actress by trade as well as a writer.
Wow.
And so I've been in Hamlet. So I've played Gertrude and listened to these amazing words play out every night backstage and on stage. And definitely, I think this is a play, Hamlet, that changes with age anyway. You kind of hear it differently as you get older because there's so much in it. And then when you think of Maggie's proposition that it was the plague, and it was a terrible, terrible way to die. And there's descriptions within Hamlet of poison, of the king being poisoned. And it equates with what we could imagine the plague would do to a body. And then the questions of, is it better to live or to die? What is living? What is life? I mean, all of it feels very relevant to the play and the book.
You mentioned this play really being able to give a perspective and a voice to someone. It's not just William Shakespeare's wife. Like Anne Hathaway was a person who lived her own life, who had her own ups and downs, and really giving a voice to someone who up until now had really kind of been voiceless. I think back to the fact that Chicago Shakespeare Theater was home to the premiere of the musical Six, which is a musical about the wives of King Henry VIII, I believe.
Yeah.
Women who, same thing, did not have, they were just the wives. They didn't have their own voices. And
didn't even have a head.
Yeah, well, one of them, yeah, absolutely. Is there a theme to be said there? The Chicago Shakespeare Theater is so great at telling stories we know, but maybe from the perspectives of people who weren't giving voices before.
Yes, I think that's absolutely true. But I also think it's following a repositioning of how we look at the world. History has been written for most of the time by a certain demographic of men. And now we are opening up and looking at different aspects of history and who nobody operates alone. And definitely a playwright, you pick from your life and from people you know and from imagination, and you write it. And there is no way that Shakespeare could have written such amazing women and children without drawing from his own life. So in the play is his mother, his wife, his daughters, as well as his son. Writing is about taking elements from what you know and telling a story. And so that's what I believe Maggie's right in saying that actually Agnes Hathaway was essential to his storytelling.
Lolita, Mark knows that basically for the past, 3 weeks, I haven't shut up about the time that I spent with Sir Ian McKellen at the Chicago Shakespeare Theater. And, his whole mission there was to really engage young students, young CPS students, with the works of William Shakespeare and really get them interested in this. And he said his whole goal wasn't to get these kids to become actors. The goal was to get them to come back to the theater.
Right.
And the thing that he did that I thought was interesting is he walked out on stage and he delivered a monologue, not from Shakespeare, but from Lord of the Rings. Because he said you get them hooked with Gandalf, and then you say, oh, by the way, here's Hamlet, here's King Lear, and here's Richard III. And that's a way of me asking, obviously, it's we've had the book out there, and now obviously we've got this amazing play. Does having the movie out right now and having it be such a success, and it's produced by Steven Spielberg, it's directed by Chloe Zhao, 8 Oscar nominations. Jessie Buckley, I think, is probably your safest Oscar bet. Like if you had $1 million to put down in Vegas, put it on Jessie Buckley for Best Actress. Is it great? Like it's not a competition. I'd imagine having that pop culture element is a great way to kind of go, like what Ian McKellen did with Gandalf. Well, now that you've got this, come on over here to this.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's the accessibility of film means that anyone can watch it, right? Whereas theatre, you have to be in the city that you're in and come and see it at the playhouse that it's on. I think it's a very different form. Reading a book is a personal experience where it's just you and the book and you can imagine the characters in your mind. Seeing a film, you can see the characters and be in their mind and see what they're feeling, which is amazing. But coming to the theatre is a very different experience where you're with us, you're with the characters, you can go through what they're going through with them on stage. So I think they're very different art forms, but they absolutely feed into each other, yes.
You mentioned a personal experience. I'm going to confess to both you and Mark Stroh right now that whenever I watched the film, and this isn't to give anything away, the last, 15 minutes, like not even a cute single tear, like the ugly gagging cry where you're kind of like dry heaving, like it wasn't an ugly, it wasn't a good look for me. Am I going to have a similar experience in a room full of strangers whenever I come see this at the Chicago Shakespeare Theater?
I hate to say it, yes. I mean, maybe you'll have to restrain the gagging and all of that. But I think yes, there's definitely sniffing going on in the theatre. But there's also a lot of joy. We have a family life, and there's the tragedy and there's the joy as well. So you'll laugh as well as cry, I hope.
Does it impact you? I'm always curious. You've spent so much time with this play, and I'm sure you're at rehearsals, and I'm sure you're talking with the actors. If you were to just sit in an audience next to Mark and myself, would it make you cry, or are you too connected to this for it to have the same impact on you that it would have on us?
I guess it's different because I know what the story is, but I'm still very open to it, because what you see on stage is absolutely Maggie's story, and it's all the actors and the creators doing their work, but I'm hidden in there too. And so when it hits and I can hear the laugh, or I can hear the cry, the gagging behind me, it's wonderful. It's wonderful because I think, oh yeah, I did it. I did the job. It worked. So it's a different kind of reception for me.
And they always say that no two audiences are ever really the same. When you sit back maybe behind stage and you see an audience react, maybe they don't laugh as hard as they should or maybe react like they should, how does that make you feel?
It's different, like you say. Every night is different. What I love about the audiences in Chicago is they're so vocal. So actually, in England, you sit very sort of well-behaved, and they enjoy it completely, but in a very different way. And here, people are very involved. So if somebody says something a bit out of order, there's tutting and and all of that, and it's great because you can feel the interaction with it. But different audiences hit in different places. So sometimes silence is just attention. And so that's very exciting, actually. You can hear a pin drop sometimes in the theater, which is wonderful.
Hamnet, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. First of all, if you haven't been out to that theater, it's out at Navy Pier. It is one of my favorite theaters, not just in Chicago, but in the country. It's an absolute, and it is the perfect place for a play like this. Lolita, how long are you guys going to be at Chicago Shakespeare? And is it expanded? Are you guys going somewhere else after Chicago?
Yeah, we're here till March 8th. So please come. And then we're off to DC and San Francisco.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Perfect timing for it to be right here in our city. And do you guys provide the tissues on the way into the theater, or do we have to sneak in our own tissues?
I think you're going to have to sneak in your own. I wish I was there handing them out.
Whenever I come in, if you because it'll be a whole box. If you just see the box sticking outside my jacket. Lolita, the playwright of Hamlet, seriously, we truly do appreciate you. This is really a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let me tell you, man, that story, without giving anything away, because like I said, I've just seen the film. I haven't seen the theatrical production. Soul crushing, man. It is. It is. I mean, listen, it deals with what they often describe as the most imaginable loss, is the loss of a child.
Right.
And then it deals with, a husband and wife, very much kind of breaking after that loss, and each one dealing with it in their own way. And it's not to say one of them was right and one of them was wrong. But Shakespeare, according to this story, obviously, like Lolita was saying, we don't know if it's fact or not, but it really seemed like Shakespeare kind of isolated himself and took all that grief and took all that pain and took all that torture and channeled it into pen and paper, a quill, and into one of the greatest plays of all time.
And that's what I find from a historical perspective amazing, is that we have these little touch points that we know about William Shakespeare. We know about the theater and what happened, how it burned down and moved a little bit down the river. And we have these things we definitely know about, but there's almost a backstory that you can be a great a launching point for these other stories that may or may not have happened. But it's still based, and it has that intersection with reality.
Exactly. I mean, so often I feel like the behind-the-scenes story is, just as interesting. There was they turned, and I didn't get to see it. I really wanted to. I believe, like off Broadway in New York, they did a play about the behind-the-scenes madness that went into making Jaws.
Oh, really?
And I think it was called The Shark is Working or something like that. And because if you know the drama that went on behind the scenes of that production,
and I did not.
It's wild,
really?
dude. It's kind of a masterpiece by accident. Like Spielberg wanted to show the shark a lot more than they did, but it didn't work.
Because the mechanical shark.
The mechanical shark. And it was saltwater. They never really shot a movie out on the ocean like they did at that time out of Martha's Vineyard. And so, all the while, time's ticking, money's being spent every day, and necessity is the mother of invention. So they had to come up with other things. And thank God you had the John Williams score. You had the yellow barrels, you had the shark, and then sometimes you just had the girl being pulled under. And because of that, it's a masterpiece, but it's a masterpiece by accident. And he was like a kid when he made it.
And it allows you to kind of fill in the blanks with your mind.
It's so much better. It's so much better. Listen, there are so many things going on around. I mean, listen, you talked about the weather being great. It's Valentine's Day today. Today and tomorrow, there's going to be a weekend-long celebration. It's going to be the Gangnam Market's Lunar New Year celebration. And we're going to talk with Mike Foran. Mike, are you there?
Good morning.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Mike, how are you, my friend?
Hi.
Oh, it's Kimberly. Kimberly, can you hear me?
Oh, hi. Yes, I can hear you guys.
I
Hi.
am so sorry. We had Mike on our sheets. Kimberly, thank you for taking the time for chatting with us. Good to see you. Sorry about
Thank
the
you so
confusion
much.
off the
Thank
top.
you for having us.
No, we're excited to talk with you. Tell us what's happening out there.
So actually we're having our annual Lunar New Year event. We're Gangnam Market. This is actually, we're going into our 3rd year open, right? So right here in front of me, I'm gonna have some tong hulu. It's a traditional Chinese snack. And what it is fruit on a skewer, and usually you take some sugar from scratch, you boil it up to a certain temperature, as my friend Patrick right here is doing. Pikachu's waiting for his slice as always.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just keep an eye on him, please. But we are actually going to have a bunch of different tong hulus, as you see some made over here. We're gonna have them available for purchase at customer service. And as you can see, this is our store. We're so excited. Our event is actually today, tomorrow, as well as next weekend, Saturday, Sunday. And it's gonna be an all-day thing. We have vendors, we have free samples, we have gifts. Everyone that makes a purchase is going to get a traditional Hongbao red envelope, and every single envelope is a winner. There's like skillets, Hello Kitty Tupperware, Hello Kitty hand cream, engraved chopsticks. There is so much stuff. I'm kind of jealous. I might make like several $16 purchases, but don't let them know I'm using my paycheck to the store.
It just goes
And then
right back to
we're
it.
gonna walk on over here.
I love Hello Kitty.
So, as you can see, we have so many Lunar New Year decorations all around us. And where we're gonna go, I wanna show you guys the candy aisle.
Yes, please.
So that's
I
gonna
love
be
a walk
right-
and talk. This is
right
great, Kimberly.
over
You're
here.
doing great.
Thank you. So we have this Pocky wall, as you see. We have so many different Asian Pockies. We have Chinese, Korean, Thai, and funny enough, my favorite one is the Thai. It's mango and passion fruit with like a hint of yogurt. This one is so freaking good. And we also have all these like limited edition P-Joys. We have like an obscene amount of candy, if we're being honest.
What is a P-Joy?
And I believe P-Joy, so it's like a cookie with, you know how Pocky has the biscuit and the like frosting on the outside?
Sure, yeah.
P-Joy is the opposite. So it's like a stick with the cookie outside and this cream is inside.
interesting.
It's
it's
really
like an
delicious.
inverted,
It's
yeah.
like
Oreo.
a really
Yeah.
long stick so you can eat them. Yeah, like a reverse Oreo kind of, but really long and skinny. That's gonna be these pretty boxes over here. They're great.
Love it, love it. This really seems like, you know, I love kind of things that you can come out to and it's not just 20 minutes and then you're looking for the next thing.
Right.
It seems like, I mean, we've been following you around this whole live shot. We could come out and then spend a couple hours out there.
I mean, we've hosted so many events. We've had our Lunar New Year, of course, our anniversary. We've had a fashion show here. We've had a K-pop dance competition. We've also had a recent DJ night with After the Afters. It was insane. Imagine our food hall packed to the brim. It was absolutely nuts.
Now I am seeing,
It's kind of insane how many people group here.
I'm seeing that, you know, listen, people these days, they love their photo ops because you can't go to a place without posting on Instagram that you're there. I'd imagine lots of opportunities, lots of great photo ops. I mean, good Lord, you have Pikachu there. What more could you possibly want?
I mean, Pikachu's following us, if we're being honest. He's kind of a stalker.
Yeah, I have
Please
that
pan over to
same,
Pikachu.
I have that same issue on it. That happens
He's
to me all the
absolutely
time.
insane. We also have other Pokemon that come by. It's kind of great with the kids, especially because it's like a little entertainment. They get to meet their little friends, their heroes, take pictures. We have so many neons everywhere, and actually the owners hand-painted the string so it kind of blends into the ceiling. It's been a labor of love for sure.
Love that.
It's absolutely nuts.
Can you tell us a little bit
And then
about
I
the
think we
Lunar New
wanted
Year?
Yeah, so Lunar New Year, it happens once a year. It was originally based upon the moon. As you know, in Western society, they base their calendar upon the sun on the Gregorian calendar. So the Lunar New Year, it kind of shifted. They ended up kind of switching to an alternative moon and solar calendar. Kind of adjusted because the crops and the farmers were kind of struggling with the seasons being a little warped each year as they kept shifting. But it's paying tradition to family, prosperity, wanting to bring in the new year with luck, wanting to welcome your home with all the good blessings. That's why we give the traditional hongbao. We'll go up to our elders, to the married couples, whatnot. We'll give them thanks for being in our lives and ask for a little bit of money in an envelope, but politely,
Oh,
you know?
that's nice. Yeah, way to go.
Yeah, it is the way to go. You traditionally give hongbao to children, unmarried people, and family members. Sometimes you'll give them to little kids. It could range from a few dollars to a few hundred. It depends on your relationship with the person and how well you know the person, but it's a respect thing. And Lunar New Year, we do so many things. We do dumplings. We hang up traditional decor to ward away demons and whatnot. Yeah, we're actually having a dumpling making event next weekend as well. So I'm excited to see that because I'm going to eat an obscene amount of dumplings.
As you should. Kimberly, I guess the real question, she was talking about, the amount of money, I guess, that you get depends on your relationship with the person. Mm-hmm. So I guess, Kimberly, the real question is how much money would you say is the relationship to, I don't know, two guys who happen to be interviewing you on live television?
Hey, you can pay us in cookies.
And cookies?
Yeah.
I have plenty. I'm not gonna lie, I have little star-shaped ones. I know one of you is a weatherman, so if you want to look to the night sky, I have little star-shaped cookies for you.
That's what I'm talking about.
I have
you are absolutely
ridiculous amount
delightful.
of
You make a
candies.
great spokesperson, and it's wonderful talking to you.
Yeah, this is a really great site. We've loved following you around. Kimberly, really quick before we go, what do you want people to know? Where can they find you guys?
So we're at 1001 West Chicago Avenue. We're by Milwaukee and Chicago. We actually have our own parking lot that's 90-minute validation. We want you guys to come see us. Come see Pikachu, please, and our events this weekend as well as next weekend all day. Thank you so much for having us, guys.
All right, one more time. I got to see Pikachu. I got to say bye to Pikachu.
Say bye, Pikachu.
There you're trying to leave.
Right.
Bye, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, Kimberly,
Absolutely
we
insane.
appreciate you. Thank you. This special edition of Weekend Chicago Live. We got to go to break. We'll be right back.
Love it.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes, shoot away.
Have you even started doing anything tax related yet?
I have.
Have you?
A box.
Okay.
And I put the stuff that's come in the mail into the box.
Yeah.
So the technical answer is yes.
Yeah.
Because it's all in the same spot. Yeah.
I try to keep everything in a pile and then come, usually mid-March,
Right.
are going, what did I do with the pile?
Yeah.
Well, the reason we bring that up is because it is that time of year again.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, with the deadline to file your taxes only 2 months away. Now's the time to get everything together, but then also be aware of, it feels like every year the rules are changing, the laws
constantly.
are changing. Obviously, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill changes things up a little bit. So we wanted to speak with someone who could really help us through this process. Robin Caruso is co-partner at Prager Metis. Robin, I would imagine right now your phone is blowing up, not just from clients, but also friends and family who just need that real quick answer, really quick. Let me grab you. I got a quick tax question. Do you get a lot of those this time of year?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Good morning. I want to tell you, it's great to be here on Valentine's Day of all things. I have a special place in my heart for Chicago. My husband and I actually met in Chicago.
Oh, love that. Well, honestly, we got to get you back. We'd love to have you back. But what do you think people need to know that's maybe different this year compared to any other year? Because it does feel like every single year this is different, which causes me to have to, every time I think I've got it down, the rules are changing.
The rules change frequently. And as Mark said, one of the first things to do is start gathering all of that information that you have and get ready for tax season. I think the biggest thing that people really need to do this tax season is understand all of the many, many, many new provisions that we have, and most likely speak to a tax advisor would be very helpful in this year in particular, because they have a lot of new deductions, there are new credits, there are new phase outs higher. There are a lot of enhancements. There's a lot of things that are wonderful for us. And an interesting thing is that some of the provisions are kicking in right now in 25 for us. So they're retroactive, they're for the whole year 25. Others aren't starting till 26. So just as important as getting ready for this tax season is planning for 2026 to ensure you're taking advantage of all the benefits available to you and getting the best end results that you can.
It is so seldom that I hear a tax professional say there are wonderful things for us. Can you tell us 2 or 3 things that come to mind that will be wonderful for us coming up this year?
Okay, so they've increased the standard deduction a bit and made it permanent. So when Tax Cuts and Jobs Act came out and increased the standard deduction, which is applicable to most taxpayers, take standard deduction, not itemized anymore. And then if you do itemize, they have increased the state and local tax deduction from $10,000 all the way up to $40,000. So if you're itemizing, most people are going to get that $40,000 or up to that, depending on what you paid. But they're going to get that expanded deduction because it doesn't phase out till $500,000. And then there's lots of new deductions. There are the qualifying tips deduction. There's overtime. Not a lot. What just happened?
That's okay. We still have
we
you.
still got you.
Yeah.
You're good.
You have me? Okay, well, I lost you on my end, but if you could hear me.
Well,
that's
it's better
great.
that we have you than you have us.
Okay. I can't see anything. So the tips deduction is for up to $25,000. There's an overtime deduction. That is for the extra half or the extra half. If somebody gets time and a half, it's not the whole extra time and a half for overtime. It's the extra half with the time and a half for that. So it's kind of interesting. And then there's a great senior deduction. The senior deduction is an extra $6,000 deduction for those over 65 that fall under the threshold. And the other amazing thing about these new deductions, they're good for 25 through 28, and you could take them whether you itemize or not. So the tips deduction, overtime, the senior deduction, and also a new interest deduction. If you buy a personal use vehicle this year and you have interest, for the next few years, you could take a deduction for that if that qualifies. So lots of good things.
Yeah, I like good things.
Lots of good things. Robin, we do got just about a minute left. Before we go, what do you think is the biggest mistake people make around this time of year, that as they're starting to get everything together, as Mark is, as I need to be, that maybe if we let them know about it now, maybe they can avoid it?
biggest mistake people make is filing a tax return that isn't complete or accurate. I always encourage taxpayers to gather all your information. Take a look at what you had on last year's tax return. Make sure you're not missing anything. If something hasn't come to you yet and you can't file properly, file a tax extension. Remember, an extension is an extension to file, not an extension to pay, and we don't want penalties. So failure to file a timely tax return or a tax extension is going to cause you to get 5% a month penalty up to 25% automatically tacked on. So I think the most important thing to protect yourself is to make sure you either file a tax return or file your extension with payment. Avoid those ugly penalties. That's a great start. And one thing I also would like to say, because we're in Illinois here, is that it's really important for taxpayers to remember the states, and that goes for all states. So just because the OBBBA came out and said you have all these new wonderful deductions that we just talked about, you don't necessarily get those in your state. Illinois is a rolling conformity state. That means they automatically adopt everything that the IRS does, but they frequently elect or opt out, decline to accept all the provisions. So those tips, they're not good in Illinois, only on your federal.
That's right. We've learned here over the years, what the Fed giveth, the state taketh away.
Robin Caruso, co-partner, Prager Metis. Robin, we truly do appreciate your time, and happy Valentine's Day to you and your husband, and we love that you guys have that Chicago connection.
Well, thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. All right, guys, we'll be right back. So, Mark Stroh, I've done a lot of Valentine's Day related live shots leading up to today.
You have. I've seen most of them.
There have been a lot of them. And every single one, I tried to include a countdown because, you know, listen, dude, guys, we're a week away. We're 10 days away.
Thank you for that, for all guys. Yeah.
Because, listen, I mean,
need it.
when Valentine's Day is on like a Tuesday, you can kind of chalk that up to, listen, it's the work week and we got to work tomorrow and I had to work today. And
I'll deal with it over the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you forget
but
about it.
when it's on a Saturday and it's almost 60 degrees in Chicago, you got very little as an excuse.
It's go time.
It is go time.
Yeah.
But if you happen to be watching this and you are one of those guys that woke up this morning and went, oh, crap.
Hello.
It's Valentine's Day. I need
gotta do something.
White Castle just the thing.
Right down
for
the corner.
you. They are transforming into Love Castle
Love
this Valentine's
Castle.
Day. We're going to talk with John Whitaker, White Castle's regional director for the Chicago region. John, we were just talking in the break, and you said today, what did you say, one of, if not the busiest day of the year for you guys?
Yeah, great setup. Thanks for having us today. This is one of our busiest days of the year. We have 35,000 reservations across our White Castle system. So it's going to be a lot of fun today.
It's funny, I don't often think of White Castle and reservations together, but this is a must for today. It's not a reservations would be helpful. It is a reservations required. Is that right?
Well, yes, that's exactly right. We've been sold out in Greater Chicagoland for about 2 weeks.
No kidding.
And it is just the place to be tonight. Yeah, we have great restaurants, steakhouses, great restaurants in Chicago, but this is the place to be. Hardest seat in town.
What a great promotion you have. Now, I remember you doing this several years ago, but this isn't something that stretched back into history with the franchise, right? This is something moderately new over the last, 10, 12, 14 years?
Actually, it is one of our traditions. It's 35 years old this
Is that right?
year. Started with our friends in St. Louis and Minnesota back in 1991. As you guys know, we're a family-owned company, 105 years old. So this has been with us 35 years or so, and it's something we look forward to every year.
Speaking of Minnesota, I was at that place in 1991, and it seems to me it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember. Something like that.
Yeah. A lot of good stories start that way. All right, John, I got to ask. Okay, you guys, 32,000 people celebrated Valentine's Day with you guys last year. You guys are expecting about 35,000 people this year. I guess, what is it that you guys are doing out there that makes today more special than the other 364 days where I can get White Castle?
Well, you set me up in the very beginning. This is where we turn your regular community White Castle into Love Castle. Each one of our general managers and their team sets up and decorates their castle the way they see fit. I'm currently in one of our locations, Northwest Indiana, Hammond, and you can see how some of our decorations are behind us. They're beautiful, they're extravagant. There's balloons, flowers, all kinds of fun stuff today. It's the one day we really put on a show, and our team just loves it.
All right, John, I'm going to tell you, I waited tables for a long time before I got actually at the same time when I started in TV. And there's always a thing that happened on Valentine's Day. Inevitably, at least a dozen guys would show up with their girlfriends. And we wouldn't have had reservations for a while.
Yeah.
And they would show up and insist, I made a reservation 3 weeks ago. And we go, dude, we know you didn't make a reservation.
Come on.
You're trying to show up and make a scene, hoping we'll give you a table.
Right.
It probably stands to reason you guys have good record of who has a reservation and who doesn't. So don't pull the I made a reservation 3 weeks ago because John knows better.
Well, that's a good point. Our friends at Open Table did a great job with us. We've been partners with them for a number of years. But there was a quick story I'll share with you. I worked on the East Coast next to a college, and 6 college girls came in without reservations, just as you described. Luckily, we found a table for them. They had the best time. Many of them graduated, got married, had families, and they continued to meet year after year at our White Castle. And it was just one of those traditions that we enjoy seeing. It's not just the couples, but it is big groups that come in, whether it's family or friends.
That's so cool.
So yeah, we try to squeeze you in.
Hey, I want to ask you a little bit
maybe
about.
we even have a few tables today.
I want to ask you a little bit about the product. Now, I'd heard this, and please tell me if this is true or not. You guys have the only hamburger in America that has a patent on it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's one of our secrets is we've got the 5 holes that allows it to steam grill all the way through.
Wow.
I don't know about the rest of the patents out there, but that's one we hold pretty close.
And that's
I did not know that.
Yeah, and that's one you've held since the beginning as well, I assume.
Yeah, it's one of our legacies of how we, take care of our core slider product is that 5-hole steam grill. Nobody else does it.
I love that. John, we got just about a minute left. Before we let you go, what do you want people to know about everything that's going on today, and how can they maybe get that last, maybe that mercy reservation for the procrastinators out there?
Oh, it's funny you say that. Certainly, a lot of our general managers are pretty savvy. Year after year, they have a few overflow tables. I can't guarantee reservations. Very few reservations are canceled, but the best thing to do is certainly swing by your local castle. If they don't have a table, we certainly have delivery. Drive-throughs are still going, carry out, but our teams, they try to squeeze everybody in. We hate turning people away. But yeah, we've been booked up pretty solid across the entire country, from New York to Louisville to Chicagoland. It's going to be one busy day out there.
Love that.
Is the drive-through still open today?
Yes, sir. Yeah, carry out delivery. We have a lot of good delivery partners as well. Feel free to jump on the app and either online through us or one of our partners.
Even if I can't get the table,
Yep.
I can have a
Sit at home.
picnic
It's
in the
better.
park.
It's better
right?
at home.
Yeah.
Better at home.
There you
John
go.
Whitaker, we appreciate you. Good luck today, my man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Of course. All
Happy
right.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you. Weekend edition of Chicago Live.
And we did not even talk about what we should have triangulated in that conversation. One of my favorite movies, Harold and Kumar.
Go to White Castle.
Go to White
There's a
Castle.
whole trilogy, man.
I'm telling
Who needs
you.
Lord of the Rings when you got Harold and Kumar? All right, guys, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Chicago Live. It is 10:48. Mark Strell, it's Valentine's Day.
Happy VD. I've been saying that all day
I
long.
know you
Happy
have.
VD.
And you have to
Happy
stop.
Valentine's
And you
Day.
have to stop.
I've been doing that for years.
I
but,
know.
but now you are the voice of reason and the
I'm the voice of wanting to remain on this show.
the arbiter of
I
good
am-
taste, I guess. I don't know.
But listen, there's going to be a lot of talks of hearts out there
Yes.
today, with it being Valentine's Day, and you're going to see hearts all over the
Right.
place. But it is Heart Health Month. It is American Heart Month, which is, American Heart. Valentine's Day falling in American Heart Month just feels kind of perfect. And there's a lot going on in that world that people need to know about, that people need to stay on top of. Luckily, we have the best guest. Dr. Sadia Khan joins us live. Dr. Khan, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. We appreciate you.
Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day to you
Happy
both.
Valentine's Day to you. So much, obviously, heart disease being a big part of it, but any sort of medical ailment, they say you don't want to wait till you have it to start trying to fix it and start trying to, it's all about preventative measures. So when it comes to something like heart disease, what are things, someone might say, well, I'm fine, my heart's good, my heart's pumping, I'm good, but what preventative measures do people need to start taking so that it never becomes an issue for them?
Yeah, great question. Prevention is the best cure, right? So we want to make sure that people are thinking about their heart health before it's an issue. And one of the things that the American Heart Association has helped to amplify is the idea of life's essential 8. So it can also feel very overwhelming when you're starting to think about, well, where do I get started? This is really a helpful way to think about 8 health behaviors and health factors that you can focus on, and is why I'm wearing this 8 pin here to help us remember what are those factors. They consist of avoiding tobacco, having a heart-healthy diet, exercising, and getting good sleep. And that's one that I'm going to especially pay attention to because it's something that I don't think we're very aware of, but influences our heart health significantly. The other 4 clinical factors are things that I'm sure we're all familiar with: your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your weight, and your diabetes risk. And together, these 8 things can be really important and help prevent any heart problems from happening.
You know, you mentioned sleep, and you know, it's one of those things you hear your entire life. But just recently, Dr. Khan, my girlfriend and I have started making a conscious effort to try to go to bed at 9 o'clock and try to get, you know, and no joke, you know, you always do the thing that they tell you to do for years and then go, oh, I'm shocked at work. Yeah. The way I have felt better just getting an extra 2 hours of sleep. I mean, not staying up till 11 o'clock, binging one more episode. It sounds common sense because you're told it your entire life, but sleep, the health impact is unbelievable.
Yeah, and one of the things that makes it so powerful is it could be really hard sometimes when you're thinking about, well, I don't know if I'm going to have the energy to exercise today, or on a special day like today, you want to eat a very nice and decadent meal, or at White Castle for those who have reservations. But sleep is something you can control, and making a schedule like you just talked about is one of the most powerful things because it sets up a routine, and routines can set habits, and that can feed forward.
The first thing you mentioned was tobacco. Today, a lot of people are not smoking traditional cigarettes, but they're doing vapes. Are vapes, I don't want to say more healthy, but are they less harmful than smoking a tobacco cigarette?
This is a great point because they have definitely been advertised in that way, but we are now seeing there are a lot of harms of vaping, e-cigarettes, and all of these alternate tools, and they may not be harmful in the same way tobacco is, but there is definite harm and addictive properties that we are recommending avoiding all of those products.
And one further question kind of down the same rabbit hole is cannabis. A lot of people are smoking cannabis these days. Does that have the same effect on heart disease as tobacco?
We're learning a lot more about the effects of cannabis. There are definitely signals related to it. A lot of it may be related to other behaviors that are connected with cannabis. There may be benefits from a pain management standpoint. There may be alternate benefits for cannabis with appropriate management with your physician. But when it comes with binge drinking or maybe with excess calories or eating, it can still cause harm. So I think there's a lot more that we need to know, but it's definitely not one we'd recommend.
Dr. Khan, we had a story on Good Day Chicago earlier this morning, and one of the stats that we had on there was that 45% of women over the age of 20, I believe, are dealing with some sort of cardiovascular fault or that they need to sort of get checked out. Can we talk about how heart disease impacts women differently?
Super important. And one of the things that we are trying to raise more awareness for. So Go Red for Women has been a campaign launched by the American Heart Association since 2004 because we recognize that women weren't aware of their risk for heart disease. In a recent survey, only 45% of women recognized that heart disease was the leading cause of death for women. So I think it's great that you bring this up because we know it's a really important problem. But oftentimes we're hearing more about mammograms and breast cancer screening or are more worried about that than recognizing the health effects and problems related to heart disease. So the message here is very simple. It is the leading cause of death. Screen earlier and prevent your risk for heart disease.
Mark Strell, I'm going to brag on Dr. Khan for a second. Dr. Khan was included in the Time 100 Health List.
Wow.
Time 100 Health List.
That's a big list.
Yes, that's a great list that not a lot of people were included on. Dr. Khan, can you tell us about this list that you were included on and what it felt to be a part of it?
Well, thank you so much for bringing that up. It's really an incredible recognition and a huge thank you to Time for compiling this list. And as I looked at the number of other individuals that were on this list and the types of work that they're doing, one thing was very clear. We have a lot of innovative ways to address health today. We have so much more scientific information. The pioneers on this list that include people who are doing gene editing and very amazing things is really just an honor to be included on this list. What I want to raise awareness for is that I think this helps us recognize where we need to go in the next century for our country, for our world, and that is focusing on prevention.
American Heart Health Month, it's important. 12 months out of the year, but if we can take a little time and emphasize just how big of a deal it is, particularly on a day like Valentine's Day, where we have little heart reminders all over the place. It's all great. Dr. Sadiya Khan, seriously, congratulations on your success. Thank you for your continued efforts with what you do, and thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Love your hearts. Get them checked out.
Oh, I like
Love
that.
your heart.
Love your hearts.
Get it checked out.
Love that. Love that. Mark Stroh, favorite romantic movie?
Oh, my goodness.
It could be a rom-com. It could be a serious romance. It could be a sweeping epic.
You know, Princess Bride is one that comes to the top five.
What a
anyway,
classic.
Top five.
Marriage. I love it.
I don't know. I probably, the critics could skewer me, but
Nobody talking. That's a classic.
I love an old-time fairy tale.
People love that movie. That run that that Rob Reiner went on.
Right.
From the 80s into the 90s, it had Spinal Tap. It had Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men. I mean, just banger after banger after. I'm sure I'm missing one.
You're missing one of my favorite movies about the kids in Oregon on.
Stand By Me.
Yeah, Stand By Me.
Stephen King. I knew he did. Right. He did two Stephen Kings.
Yeah.
That's a classic. Have you ever seen? I often talk about. I think Titanic is a classic old school sweeping epic, the kind of which they don't make anymore. I love. Have you ever seen 500 Days of Summer?
I really enjoy that movie.
That's a great movie.
I love it.
Yeah, it's if you haven't seen it, it's basically about this guy who basically grows up watching rom-coms, and because he grew up watching them, he thinks that that's how love should be.
Right.
And it really, we all know, love,
it's not.
It's not. It's not like a rom-com.
Right.
And it's really him having this heartbreak because he realizes his whole mind thinks that life should be a movie, and it's not. Have you ever seen Meet Joe Black?
I have not. Yes, I have. Yeah.
Great movie. It's Anthony Hopkins is visited by Death, who happens to be played by Brad Pitt, begs for just an extra week of his life to get his affairs in order, and Death says, "Cool, you got to show me around though." And wouldn't you know it, Death falls in love with Anthony Hopkins' daughter.
Huh.
But it helps when you look like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
It helps.
Death looks better at that point.
There are a lot of people that wouldn't mind going with Death if he looks like Brad Pitt.
Maybe
Mark
for more than a
Stroh,
week.
I enjoy this hour of the very special weekend edition of Chicago Live. But man, enjoy. I know you're coming back tonight. When can people see you?
Yeah, right here at Fox 32. On after whatever
game we got going on. We always got a good game.
I was going to say what Peter Griffin said on Family Guy, but I think I'll just keep my job.
And I appreciate you for it.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thanks for watching us. We'll catch you next week.
What
everyone, and welcome into First and North. Seahawks are Super Bowl champions, and the football season is officially over. But as we know, the NFL is year-round, and so are we. So we are going to break everything down. Welcome into First and North. I'm Cassie Carlson, alongside the voice of the Detroit Lions, Dan Miller. We have Lily Zhao from Fox Milwaukee and Pierre Nugent from Fox Minneapolis. Guys, Seahawks defense proves too dominant for MVP runner-up Drake May and the New England Patriots. Sam Darnold didn't even need to have his best stuff for the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl 29-13. It is a copycat league, so I look at Seattle's defensive front, all of which were drafted by John Schneider, and see how they were able to get to Drake May, who was sacked 6 times. And I think the Bears need game records on their defensive line in order to compete on that final Sunday of the season. Dan, when you look at the makeup of the Seahawks team, what do you take that you could apply in Detroit?
I think it's a great conversation, and it's one I've actually had a couple of times since the game. I think it's really easy to get seduced into seeing what worked in this game, and really you can go back to last year when Philadelphia sacked Kansas City 6 times and Patrick Mahomes never really had a chance. But I would say you need to kind of broaden the scope a little bit and just say this. You need to be good. Because we're not far removed from a time when we thought, oh, you have to have an elite quarterback because Mahomes and Brady have been doing it for so long. So my bottom line is this. You can do it with a great defense. You can do it with a great offense. What you can't do is do it with a team that's not playing their best football. So in my opinion, just be good. Now, I know that seems simplistic, but the key is be playing your best football in January and February, and you have a chance to get it done. And I just think it's really easy for everybody in the league to now look at it, or people outside of teams, organizations, to say, you got to have that dominant defense to win it. But just remember, we have shifted our thinking in what it takes to win a Super Bowl several times here in the last 5-10 years.
Well, I also think you could point to that they were the best, arguably, at all 3 phases, because special teams played a huge role in the Super Bowl as well. And I had a conversation with someone else who said, you got to hit on your draft picks. And Pierre, you know that, and what the ripple effect can be if you don't, as they fired the Vikings GM last week, and we were talking about it. But do you just look at the quarterback and still think, what if Sam Darnold was still in Minneapolis?
A little bit. I would say that Sam Darnold certainly proved himself not just last year, but this year as well. It's one of those things where Sam Darnold had a terrific season in Minnesota, but in the offseason, everybody, including the Vikings front office, were asking themselves, well, can you do it again? Well, not only did he prove that he can do it again, he is now a Super Bowl champion. But it's interesting, Cassie, when you look at the quarterback position, everybody needs to have that elite quarterback, and at the same time, too, an elite quarterback comes with it a hefty price tag. And even some of these quarterbacks that you would not put in the elite category, such as Tua Tagovailoa and Kyler Murray, you look at Arizona and Miami right now, and they are hampered right now with a bad quarterback contract, and what that can do to your franchise can be absolutely disastrous. So I don't think you necessarily need to have that elite quarterback getting that paid elite money to make it work. We just saw another example of that in Seattle with Sam Darnold. You can still have enough money to sprinkle around the rest of the roster and still get adequate quarterback play and emerge as a Super Bowl champion.
Pierre, I want to stick with you because all the players that weren't playing in the Super Bowl were roaming around Radio Row talking to every which media outlet, and there are a lot of quotable moments that come from that week leading up to the game. One of them from Justin Jefferson, who was speaking his mind about how quarterback play affects his status as the best wide receiver in the NFL.
I mean, how I'm not. I mean, just
you watch the games, right?
Just based off the quarter. I mean, you know, a lot of people base it off of the quarterback play and, you know, just different things that really go into, you know, my position. Obviously, I got to, you know, rely on and, you know, I got to depend on a lot of people in order for me to get that ball. So, you know, if I don't have, you know, an elite, elite position or elite quarterback that's throwing me the ball the entire year, then it's a little bit difficult to be in those conversations.
Think this creates some drama in the locker room when everybody comes back?
You know what, Cassie? I think Justin Jefferson has done more talking in a week than I've heard him in perhaps the past 5 seasons, and a lot of it has kind of raised my eyebrows just a little bit because I'm just a little surprised that he's so open. Not to say that he's incorrect. I mean, there's a difference between, you know, perhaps being flawed in your honesty and being factually correct. And I believe that Justin Jefferson has been factually correct with everything that he said thus far. It's just raised my eyebrows a little bit in the sense that he has gone public with some of those comments comments, and I know J.J. McCarthy is probably looking at those comments thinking to himself, well, it's obvious that Justin Jefferson needs me to raise my game because he has not put up the elite numbers while I've been under center at quarterback, and that is certainly true. But again, I'm just a little surprised that Justin Jefferson would go as public with it as he has had. But again, I cannot fault him for saying what he has said because everything he has said has been factually correct.
Maybe